Welcome, beautiful people, to part two of the future of the workplace culture. We have, of course, again, the wonderful Courtney Dillon. You can see her information in the description box and on the screen. And we have my lovely son, Erik, on the other side. I love y'all both. And this person who's giving it took a long time. Okay.
Yeah, it just started, I think.
Okay. Welcome, beautiful people. The recording was delayed, but I'm having so much trouble with my internet. And Lucas is texting me, go reset the router. Or I don't even know what a router is or where it is. We have two of them. I don't know where any of them are. Anyway, bear with us. Courtney Dillon's information is in the description box and will also be on the screen. And okay, next question. For the workplace culture and its future. And the person who made these questions, I could not do this. It's amazing.
She's really good. These are great questions. I'm assuming a she. I don't know.
I don't know. I can't remember. Will the gig economy, I have no idea what that is, continue to expand, or will people prefer more stability and traditional roles? How will this impact the overall work culture? I don't know what a gig economy is.
I think it's like a side gig, you know, the idea of like you're doing something as a side business type thing.
Okay.
Let me ask him. Many more people, he says, will be working for themselves. Okay. And this again has to do with, if you watch the last video, the soul calling idea. And since we are going to have more people waking up, they'll be feeling they know what they're going to do, and they will draw on money, or they will bring in money from different sources. And we're not as focused on this idea we have to have insurance for one company, or, you know, like that sort of thing, or, you know, because it's like we have some of these basic needs. The ability to, our whole medical system is changing, but we'll have some of these basic needs met. Okay. Right.
Good. What will happen to industries that require physical presence, like healthcare or hospitality?
They will remain, because we need places where people can meet. We need doctors that, you know, people can go see, but the doctors will not be, he says, slave to insurance companies. They will not be slave to pharmaceutical companies.
Good.
They will be able to make, because he shows me like that a lot of doctors right now feel this actually, that they have handcuffs, that they cannot really make their own decisions or really get to the bottom of something, because they have to see a certain number of people in order to make money. And that's all going to go away.
What majors, this is not one of the, well, maybe it is eventually. What majors should kids today take in college or community college or whatever in order to prepare themselves for this new evolved workplace culture? AI, IT.
He says, really, those ideas, AI, IT, robotics, are all good, or anything to do with like computers or computer systems would be a good idea. But what he says is most important right now is listening to your soul calling and learning to think critically. It's two things.
Yeah.
So you may not, when you're 18, feel like you really know what you're here to do, but it's much more important to get a degree where you actually learn to think and see and have, learn to think of new ideas. And that's much more important than learning to be what he calls a cog in the wheel.
Well, because a lot of stuff you just learn on the job anyway. So being prepared to think, critical thinking skills is really important. What will happen? Oh, no, that wasn't what I asked. Will we see a shift toward a shorter work week or reduced hours as part of a global movement toward improving quality of life?
Yes, absolutely. That feels like it's on. Again, a lot of these changes are gradual over time, and some of them, unfortunately, we may not see within our lifespan.
Yeah.
But actually, if you're, younger right now, you may see this. We're moving to like 4 to 5 hour work days, like sort of just like chunks of time where you go in, you do your work, you work very hard, and then you have much more freedom and flexibility to. He's showing me things like garden. I mean, we're going to be doing a lot more activities that our ancestors did, and we're returning to this kind of way of life that will be even surprising to many of us listening. I mean, I don't,
like become self-sustaining again.
Yeah, can be the
back 40.
Community will be self-sustaining. So somebody's going to be the beekeeper, somebody's going to grow, the vegetables, et cetera, and then we all like share.
How will the concept of career progression change? Will people continue to aim for traditional promotion, or will success be defined differently in the future?
Success will be much more defined by quality of life and personal well-being. So it will not be the traditional rat race that we see today. We will be, what are you here to do? What do you want to do? What is in alignment? And also, this is very important, what is of service to the world? So a lot of ways in which we think about work right now are not necessarily thinking, I mean, it's not everything. I mean, I don't want to generalize, but are not necessarily thinking of how is this going to serve the world?
Yeah.
But in the future time, that will be a huge consideration in what we choose to do with our time.
So maybe instead of, gosh, I've been assistant manager for so long, when are they going to promote me to manager? It's going to be maybe like more even, and okay, you have this specific role and you have that specific role, and we combine them and we work for. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
How will workplace relationships change in the future? Will the boundaries between colleagues and friendships blur even more, or will people prefer more professional distance?
It depends, he says. There will be some places. So if you work for an organization, and he's not even using the word corporation, which is interesting to me. If you work for a company or organization that has employees all over the world or country, and you kind of work together as teams, you may be friendly, but not necessarily friends. But if you work for a community-based organization, it's going to be like pockets and communities. And that is how we develop friendships. It feels like there will be similar ways of interacting with our colleagues. It feels like.
Okay. How will creativity be valued in the workplace of the future? Will jobs emphasize innovation and thinking outside the box more than routine tasks?
Yes. Creativity, thinking, critical thinking. That's why he recommends, like a degree like literature or something like that, where you learn to think about big ideas, think about the world. Critical thinking, creativity, and being like artistry will be much more important. Like these type of things, it feels less and less like a cog in a wheel. Like you complete this one task over and over and over.
Oh yeah. Okay. Will there be significant changes in how workers are compensated? Will we see more companies moving toward profit sharing, universal basic income, or other non-traditional payment models?
Yes, absolutely. One, and he likes to emphasize this, many people will be working for themselves. And so as a result of that, the money comes in different directions. There's going to be a lot of, quote, firm checks and balances, meaning that the company does not have, just power to do whatever they want. And so there will be checks and balances in the way, and fairness in the way that people are paid. The top of the organization, for example, will have checks and balances. They will not be able to just make,
$30
ridiculous
million
amounts of
a
money.
year. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then the people that are, under them, it will be much more
Good.
fairness,
Good. I love the idea of
quality.
profit sharing. Big time. How will education and skill development change for future
Me
workers?
too. I think that's really,
Yeah. How will education and skill development change for future workers? Will traditional degrees still matter, or will experiential learning and soft skills take precedence?
people are still going to have degrees from institutions and universities. So that's not going away. And however, that said, there will be the idea behind the degree is to learn to think, to learn to be creative, to learn to be innovative. You will certainly learn and become an expert in whatever topic that you are studying, but the idea is different. Then the motivation is different.
That's good.
Experiential learning, things like Montessori type
Yeah.
education and those what's the other one? Waldorf, he's saying,
Yeah.
will
Yes.
become much more of a model of how we want to educate children. We give them much more time outside, freedom to explore, creativity. Now, they're certainly going to learn how to read and write and all these important skills that we just need, but it's not as rote in a desk. It's not based on standardized testing. It's altogether different. I mean, I wish my daughter had gone to school in the future. It's like it's nicer.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. I'm going to look up a book here that a friend of mine wrote. It's called The 10 Principles of a Love-Based Culture and How Authentic Business Leaders Trust Their Employees. Oh, I have to click on it to do the right thing. It is really a great, fantastic book.
That's a really really good example of where we're headed.
Yeah.
It's service to the world. It's paying attention to the whole. We are not separate from the whole. We just forgot that. And people are going to be remembering.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Will the workplace be more connected to spiritual and mindful practices in the future? Like, will there be a rise in integrating practices like meditation or energy healing in the corporate setting?
The idea of the corporation as we know it is going away. So there will be companies, they may even be called corporations, but he's very mindful. Yeah, or
I did that thing. Zoom crashed. All right, so okay, so tell me about that again. Will there be more meditation?
Sorry, what he's saying is that all of that will be present, but the idea of the whole person and taking care of the whole person, because that person as a whole person will be more of service to the world. So all of those things become more important because they address the whole person's needs.
Okay, good.
The person with the spirit, etc.
All right. What about mentorship? How will that evolve in the future? Will it become more common for people to have mentors outside of their organization or even from different industries?
Yes. It's interesting. He's showing me like a rise in skills like carpentry, really hands-on type of skills. Good. And people will have mentors in a lot of those type of areas. Learning to regenerate soil and the land and organic farming practices, that sort of thing. And it will be very much this idea of you learn from a teacher. I
like that idea. Will burnout become less of an issue in the future workplace, or will the demands of productivity continue to create stress for workers? And then I have one more question.
No, burnout will not be as much of a problem because we will have more freedom and flexibility. We will have more time to enjoy our life. We have more time to spend with our family, children will probably go to school a shorter work or shorter day. They won't be gone. And although that sounds a little bit far-fetched, this is where we are heading. I mean, this is where we're heading. It's going to take some time. It's not like we're going to wake up in 27 and this is the reality. Okay. But this is where we're heading.
All right. Will self-employment and entrepreneurship become the preferred path for many workers, or will there be resurgence in loyalty toward larger organizations?
It's both. There's going to be a lot more people. I'd say the majority of people, he's showing me like a 70-30 split. Okay. 70% working for themselves. But that said, there are organizations and people will want to work for them. Community and a lot more community-based organizations.
That's good. So, of course, there'll be AI for the big organizations too that take over humans.
There will be AI, but we have to decide as a collective how we want to use and utilize it. This is an important decision point that we are making, and we can use it for negative purposes, or we can learn to use it and receive the benefits.
God, I hope so. You know, it's a disruptive technology, like the car was disruptive technology for the horse and buggy. But people say, "Oh my God, then we're not gonna we won't have buggy makers or horses or reins that make the reins or all the wheels." Well, there are people that have to make the tires and get the rubber and all that stuff for cars. So anyway, it works out. All right, thank you, Courtney. Thank you, Eric. Anything else you want to say, Eric?
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of that. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Y'all hit the subscribe and the like button, please.
Yeah, he does. He has one more thing to say. He says, people that are miserable in their jobs right now, remember that you have more power than you think. Even if you feel like you don't have a lot of power in your job or your career, remember that you will always have choices and options. The most important thing is to learn to pay attention to your soul, and that will help lead the way to where you're supposed to go.
Okay. Sounds great. Thank you, Courtney. Thank you, Eric. Thank you, everybody. Bye.
Bye.
Go unplug some routers.
Routers. Good luck. I'm sorry.
Bye.
Bye.